So last year, the Browns were in the sweepstakes to get Mr. Deshaun Watson. Somehow, with everything pushed aside, they somehow acquire him for 3 ones and a couple other picks. They all send that to Cleveland. They ship up this quarterback to a fully guaranteed deal. I believe $230 million. Suspended the first 11 games due to his whole massage thing that went on during COVID and 2021 as well. He now gets to enter 2023 as the potential, well, not potential, it's a full-on starter for the Cleveland Browns. And this team, it's pretty interesting. Besides someone breaking into the field and using one of those golf carts to rip donuts in the center of their field before their game with the Buccaneers last year, which is still pretty funny to this day. And let's get into it. Dom, you could be the technical side of it.
You were doing it anyway. You were like, let me do the banner. Let me do that. I was like, all right.
All right, here. I'll let you do it. I'll let you do it all the rest of the way.
You got it. You can talk.
Okay. So, Deshaun Watson, a QB1, and maybe we'll see some progression with this Cleveland Browns offense. They go out, they trade for Elijah Moore. They acquire a third to help the Jets move up to number 42. So they get themselves another playmaker for Watson, entering his third year in the league. I mean, hey, Amari Cooper's still there. Donovan Peoples-Jones is still there. The offensive line, besides the center, I honestly really enjoy this offensive line. I think it's one of the better ones in the league. And how can we also forget David Njoku, Jordan Atkins? This offense has the potential to be something amazing. And also, let's not forget Nick Chubb. This offense has the makings of being a star-studded offense in the league. I really think so.
Have we not said like every year though? I mean, like
but
yeah, I mean, you said it too. The Browns, they stacked in the offseason. They stacked. They're going to be doing stuff this year.
Yes, maybe I did. But every preseason going into the season, when we look at this, we look at this team on paper, it's been like, oh, this team stacked up this season. Look at this offense. Look at this quarterback now. Defense, cool. Like, it's just never okay. I don't know.
Boys.
Yeah.
One simple quote here. The Browns is the Browns. So otherwise proven. The Browns is the Browns. And that's kind of where I'm at with this team. And yeah, the talent's there. Great. Like I've heard about the talent on this roster for the past 3 years. And nothing really to show for it. Congrats. Like, hey, you got Deshaun Watson. He didn't look like he wanted to play football last year. I don't think he really wants to play football in Cleveland, but it's the only team that was willing to pay him the fully guaranteed contract. So he kind of has to show up. I don't think this is going to be another great season for the Browns. Like, Amari Cooper is great. He looked really good last year as well. But my goodness, it's the same team. And it's weird in the North. And we'll get to the rest of the teams here soon. But the Browns own the Bengals. And the Ravens own the Browns. Like, it is wild how teams own each other in the division. And it's like, what? You would think the Bengals would light up Cleveland. No, they can't stop the run. They can't stop Nick Chubb. So they just literally have to hand the ball off to Nick Chubb, control the game, because unless Deshaun Watson takes a huge step forward this year, I wasn't impressed with him last year. He should have had the mentality like, damn, Cleveland went out, traded for me after all my shenanigans off the field. Showed up like, yeah, this is what to look forward to next season. He didn't give me that if I'm a Browns fan. I'm thinking, oh, boy, we paid this guy this much? I get it. There's more weapons in the receiver room now. I get it. But what am I excited about here in Cleveland? Like, cool. Like, he's got a full offseason now with the wideouts. Don't give me that baloney. He was throwing with the guys beforehand. You don't act a fool here. He was throwing with the receivers beforehand. So, again, Browns is the Browns. I'll believe when I see it. When I see Cleveland, like, putting on a show, like, okay, when we take them seriously, that is when I will do so. And I think a lot of teams in the North will think the same way.
I think that's the best way to put it is you got to wait. You got to see until they actually put it together. If they have old Deshaun Watson, that's a good chance they put it together.
Yes.
But again, we haven't seen that in a while either. So it's like it's a match. Thing we haven't seen in a while and thing we haven't seen in a while.
It's been quite a while since we've seen good football out of Deshaun Watson. So, and again, like I said, the team that went out, paid for him after everything, he didn't look like he wanted to come out and prove like, yeah, you don't want to play Cleveland next year. Didn't show me that. He didn't say, all right, Cleveland, thank you for, taking me after all my bull crap. And let's go. I'm going to put on a show, and this is what you're getting next season. Imagine a full season of this. Yeah, you don't want to mess with Cleveland. I didn't see any of that. I did not seem any bit scared of Cleveland last year.
His last full season, though, you go back to that historic 2020 Texans team where they were just a dumpster fire. 70% completion percentage, 4,823 yards. I think he led the league in passing that year. 33 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. That's with Will Fuller, Brandon Cooks, Akins at tight end. And that's also, David Johnson at running back as well.
Well,
that was a dumpster fire.
You said the year.
Yeah,
years.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that in a little bit, Will, for a guy that
he hasn't been on the field in a little bit.
I know, but that's my point.
I think he's going to shake off. I think we will see. I think we could see a better Deshaun Watson than what 2020 gave. I think Deshaun Watson could be arguing as the second best quarterback in the AFC North, behind Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's undisputed one. I don't think that's going to be touched. But
okay, I don't disagree with what Will just said in saying that he might be the second best quarterback in the AFC North. Here's the thing, whatever Deshaun Watson is, and even Deshaun Watson of last year, okay, when he was playing, was still a starting quarterback in this league. I don't think there's an argument there. He's still I'd put him top 20 probably easy, without knowing or seeing that much from him. I think that, if he's a top 12 quarterback this year, I don't think that's an awful thing. If I'm the Browns, okay, I will take that after everything, after last season, maybe the offense got just a tiny bit better, I guess. But I don't know. I want to go to defense first before I say more where it's an overall team thing.
I don't know, a full offseason where he's not having to worry about this whole suspension thing, I think is going to do a lot better for him. But I know what he did is just going to be following him for just the rest of his career and potentially the rest of his life. So it's the suspension's out of the way. I really think he could be a 40 touchdown passer quarterback. I really think so. I think we could see that.
It's that's
those
like
2020 numbers.
That's on the better side of what it could be, I feel like.
Again, the potential's there. It's just been a long time since we've seen it, and it could have came right out of the gate last year to prove a point and kind of say, Cleveland, this is what you got. If I'm Cleveland, I'm not loving what I saw out of Deshaun Watson. Again, has the potential to be very good. He's also not playing the dumpster fire defenses that he was while he was in Houston. He's in the AFC North, or we're going to look at all the defenses.
Yeah, the best defenses in the.
They are all loaded in the AFC North. So let's go. Let's get right into the defense here. A lot of talent in Cleveland. Clearly the big one, Myles Garrett up front. They signed Zadarius Smith as well in the offseason as he was cut from Minnesota. The front's very good. Let's not discredit it at all. The North has amazing fronts and is led by one of the best pass rushers in football in Myles Garrett. Their back end's really good. They did lose some pieces in the secondary. I think John Johnson left. So not as great in the secondary, but you got Denzel Ward there still. But the front is where it all happens in the North, and it is no different here in Cleveland.
I also love, Thornhill. He came in from Kansas City this year. Ogbo Okwonkwo, another good guy from Houston. He had a pretty good game against the Titans last year when Malik Willis was starting at quarterback. The second time, the frozen Christmas Eve game. But what I like about this defense is I think they gave Myles Garrett the best possible opposite end edge rusher to complement him. Because he had Olivier Vernon, who I think was acquired through the Odell Beckham trade. He was okay. He wasn't he was middle of the road. He wasn't great, but he wasn't bad. But he was also on the older side after being with the Dolphins for such a long time. And then Jadeveon Clowney was just kind of super hit or miss for most of the time. But I think Zadarius Smith's going to be that ultimate complementing piece. I don't want to say Cleveland's like that. Oh, hey, if you're a linebacker, this is where linebackers go to die kind of thing. Oh, hey, this is the end of the road career stuff. I think Zadarius Smith still has a lot of fuel in the tank, and acquiring him for, I think, a 5th and a 7th round pick. I'm ready to see what Cleveland could do up front, especially with Zadarius Smith being added.
I got to piggyback right off of what Will said because I feel like that's absolutely the truth.
Yeah, I took your quote.
You did 100%. I've always said the Cleveland Browns are where pass rushers just go to die and their career because we've seen time after time, offseason after offseason now for like the last 5 years, these premier pass rushers go to Cleveland and then you just like never see their career again and that's it. And now it was last year, 2 years ago now, where there was quotes out of the locker room saying this team doesn't care about anything other than Myles Garrett's stats. And as long as he has good games, nothing else matters kind of stuff. That's how a player felt about the organization and how they run the team. So it all kind of lined up with me thinking that already and me saying that previously. And I don't know. I don't trust any pass rushers going to this team and showing out like they've showed out their whole career, like Zadarius Smith, which he is phenomenal. He was fantastic for the Packers. But I don't know. I just don't trust it. It is what it is. We'll see when or if it happens.
And this is still a 10-sack guy. Like, he's not like, oh, hey, end of the line kind of thing. Like,
you got to hope not. But again,
this brings me back to when I was playing Madden, and you can have duplicates. Like, I would run like 7 Zadarius Smiths because he was the fastest linebacker in the game, and I would just stack him on every single like front 7 position I could.
He was a fun guy to watch too, and he was a big defensive presence. But I hope that's also the case. I hope they could figure that out or something, or I hope they include other defensive players in their stuff. I don't know. The whole Myles Garrett thing, it definitely rubs me the wrong way still. The quotes out of the locker room and just the evidence beforehand.
Was there anyone do we know like who like leaked that out? But wasn't there also a thing about Jadeveon Clowney too that leaked out, and then that's why he like didn't play the last game of the season?
It could have been him that said it, to be honest.
I think it may have been him.
But I mean, yeah, I don't know. But obviously, that's not the most trustworthy voice I feel like at this point either. But I don't know. I was thinking it and it was said. So it's not completely out of place.
Any other thoughts?
I know the secondary. It's never been.
I mean, Colton introduced it, so it was like.
Yeah, I kind of said my piece on it. Again, their front's very good. We'll see if they can finally pair someone up with Myles Garrett because they've been looking for it his whole time there. Really haven't found someone to like, yes, this is our guy. That's kind of like what the Steelers have had. The next team up on our list, the Steelers have had Bud Dupree, Alex Highsmith. Like the Steelers have had someone to run along with TJ Watt, where Cleveland really hasn't. You just named the guys, Olivier Vernon, Zadarius Smith now. Jadeveon Clowney, the guys haven't fit. So could Zadarius Smith be the guy? Again, like I said earlier on Cleveland, I believe it when I see it. I got to see Zadarius Smith do it and be, a bookend for Myles Garrett.
Yeah, like Cleveland had Cameron Wembley for a while. This is going like mid 2000s. Cameron Wembley. They had just Paul Kruger they took from Baltimore, even though he was on like his way out. But they had some really good like presence there. But just having that opposite end guy, I think they could just really do a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah, and just to confirm, it was Jadeveon Clowney. He said stuff like, it's just BS. I don't have time for it. Talking about how they move around the defense and stuff just to accommodate Myles Garrett and how the organization just cares about him getting his numbers.
Clowney is also like one of the bigger.
He's on the bench right now. He's on the couch doing nothing.
It's not the most trustworthy voice either. And he ended up apologizing about it and whatnot.
And also you're going to do that with your best defensive player. You're going to move him around and get him mismatches and let him, do his thing. So it's a very dumb quote, and it's why he really hasn't panned out since coming out of South Carolina. So I kind of tells you all you need to know.
Let's head into the schedule because this is going to be interesting here. And I want to highlight the first game, which is against the Bengals. And now we know Joe Burrow has the calf injury and all that stuff. I think it's a 50-50. He could really play that week, but we'll know closer to when it gets to like kickoff. But I think that's a very good matchup to have week 1. You go against Joe Burrow, and you might not play Joe Burrow. You might play like Trevor Siemian or someone like that. You're going to just be playing not a very good backup. But then, having to play the AFC North, your first 3 or 4 games is a super, super brutal stretch.
Yeah, geez, when has a team ever opened with their first 4 games? 3 of them are division games.
The Jets had to play the entire AFC North their first 4 games last year, and that was the most obnoxious thing I've ever had to see.
Hey, and Joe Burrow last year, don't forget, he opened that half with what, like 5 interceptions to begin. I mean, he ended up, I think.
Yeah, he gave the Steelers defense like 78 fantasy points.
It's true.
And that's when Don was about to just say, you know what? I'm done.
I changed my fantasy name to like Joe Burrow sucks or something.
He did.
Who goes all the way to the championship?
Hey, bro, I was like, I picked Joe Burrow thinking, but yeah, whatever.
He has that pretty much the same calf injury again opening the year this time again.
Yeah, we'll talk about Joe Burrow a lot more later and his wild preseasons that he had to experience. As
also keep in mind while looking at the schedule, guys, that this entire division, and you'll see it on the team slides and whatnot. This entire division went 3-3 in the division last year. The entire one, top to bottom, every team went 3-3. Just keep that in mind when thinking about these schedules and stuff.
Honestly, they might honestly split all games again. Like, I don't really think who can like be like the advantage guy. But
North
I think
is
looking at it here. Let's see. I think they can go 2-2 before the bye. Maybe even 1-3, depending on.
It sucks.
1-3, just depending on if Joe Burrow is going to stay healthy. I think that's a big thing. But I mean, we've also seen the Browns be really competitive against the Bengals, and that's without with Jacoby Brissett.
Oh man,
this is brutal, man. I think let's see, 3-3, 3-4. They're going to beat the Cardinals 58-0. That's just going to be my quote every time I see them on a schedule.
I have like a potential 8-win season, I guess.
I can see 9.
Yeah,
9.
I don't think there's a team in this division that can go under 500. I think they're all like over 500s.
Nah.
Yeah, it's around that too. 9 wins, 9-10 wins.
But that brutal stretch too. You got to go at Denver. Depends what you could get in Los Angeles.
Look at
you go to Jackson.
2 division games and then Denver. So not even just I wouldn't even start at Denver, but 2 division games, then Denver, and then like you said, the stretch: Rams, Jacksonville. Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised if the Browns are a team that can like squeak a playoff spot. There's honestly 10 AFC teams that can fight for the playoffs, but 7 can only get in.
Yeah,
but
we'll see.
I don't think a 9-win team's going to be able to squeeze in there and get there. I think it's like you got to have double-digit wins.
Yeah.
But whenever it's talked about the AFC, oh, hey, you need double-digit wins to get in, there's always a team with like 9 wins that just squeaks in.
When it comes out of AFC South. Dumpster fire. Dumpster fire to the South.
Shall we move? Let's get back in here really quick.
Okay? You're
You're
not gonna ask the question?
Oh yeah. Let me go back there. I'm sorry. I wanted to pull up this comment. Okay.
That was the whole question thing that he always asks.
Yes. Let's go back here. So, well, no, I'm gonna ask it like this because this is better.
Yeah. Okay.
To make this season successful, what do the Browns have to do to achieve it?
Deshaun Watson. 2 words. Deshaun Watson is how the season goes. If it's Deshaun Watson as last year when we saw him, yeah, they're going to be finishing in the bottom of the North. And if
not one word, not touchdown, score more points than the other team.
No,
that's 5.
If we see the Deshaun Watson of 2020, could be talking about the division winners. You don't know what you're getting. It's a coin flip and it's a risk. And Cleveland took the risk because their quarterback situations, for the past 20 years has been an absolute dumpster fire. So this is what happens. You take a chance on this wonderful human being, and that's kind of where it is. It's what it is. Deshaun Watson's the key to this whole thing.
I also found a stat too. You could keep on talking up. I gotta find it really quick.
So one, Deshaun Watson's the obvious answer, and like I said before, if maybe he's a top 10 quarterback this season, maybe I call that a success because now we got a future and it's like maybe I can look forward to something, right? Other part, maybe to make it a little bit more successful than usual,